In a world filled with noise, where everyone is quick to speak, quick to voice opinions, and eager to prove themselves, silence can be your greatest weapon. Not the silence of defeat, not the silence of submission, but the silence of understanding, of confidence. When you hold your tongue, when you refrain from revealing your every move, you hold power. You see, people are uncomfortable with what they don't understand. They thrive on certainty. They want to know your next step, your next move, what you're thinking, what you plan to do. But when you refuse to give them that satisfaction, you become unpredictable. In the age of constant communication, where people are eager to be heard, seen, and acknowledged, silence is often undervalued. We live in a time where the loudest voices tend to dominate the room, where opinions are shared instantly, and where everyone seems to feel the need to express themselves constantly. In such a world, silence can be an unexpected and powerful tool. Silence isn't the absence of sound, it is the presence of awareness. It is not the mark of passivity, but a sign of strength, discipline, and thoughtfulness. Silence holds a kind of power that many fail to recognize, an unspoken force that can influence situations, control narratives, and demand respect without uttering a word. At first glance, silence might be perceived as weakness. In a culture that equates volume and visibility with strength, remaining quiet is often misunderstood. People may assume that if you're not speaking, you're not contributing, or worse, that you lack something to say. Yet true silence is a choice, not a default. It's a deliberate act of holding back, of restraining one's words until they are needed, ensuring that when you do speak, your words carry weight. When you choose silence, you're making a conscious decision to step outside the immediate noise. You're opting to observe, to reflect, and to process. This distance from the chaos allows for a clearer perspective, a better understanding of the situation at hand. While others may rush to give their opinion, often without much thought or reflection, silence allows you the time to analyze, strategize, and decide what, if anything, is worth saying. In many situations, silence can serve as a form of resistance. It denies others the validation they seek from your response, leaving them unsure of where they stand. Imagine being in a heated argument, and rather than reacting impulsively, you remain quiet, composed. Your silence can be more unsettling than any retort. It shifts the balance of power. While the other party continues to escalate, your calm demeanor speaks volumes, making them question their own actions. Silence, in this context, becomes an act of defiance, a refusal to be drawn into unproductive conflict. This ability to remain quiet also cultivates an air of mystery. People are uncomfortable with what they cannot understand or predict. When you speak less, people become intrigued by your thoughts and motives. They start to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, and how you see the situation. The less you reveal, the more curious they become. This unpredictability keeps them off balance, granting you a psychological advantage. Moreover, silence allows for deeper listening, and in turn, deeper understanding. In conversations, many people are so focused on preparing their response that they fail to truly hear what the other person is saying. By choosing silence, you can fully engage with what is being communicated. You pick up on nuances, on things unsaid, and on the emotions driving the words. This active listening provides you with a wealth of information that others miss because they are too focused on making their own point. In negotiations or tense situations, silence can be a powerful negotiating tool. When you withhold your thoughts, you force the other person to fill the space. They may offer more information than they intended, reveal their weaknesses, or even negotiate against themselves in an attempt to break the silence. In these moments, silence becomes a strategic advantage, one that can be far more effective than speaking prematurely. However, to wield silence effectively, one must understand when and how to use it. Silence is not about retreating into inaction or avoiding confrontation, it's about choosing your moments carefully. There are times when your voice is necessary, when your contribution can shift the direction of a conversation or clarify a point of confusion. But when you choose to speak after a period of silence, your words carry more weight because they are seen as thoughtful and considered. When used skillfully, silence can also foster inner peace and resilience. In times of stress or chaos, rather than reacting impulsively, silence gives you the space to process your emotions and thoughts. This emotional discipline allows you to act with clarity, rather than from a place of reactivity. It shields you from being swept up in the heat of the moment, offering a sense of calm amidst the storm. In leadership, silence can command respect. A leader who speaks sparingly, but wisely, creates a sense of authority. When they do speak, people listen because they know that their words are meaningful. This approach stands in contrast to leaders who talk endlessly without saying much of significance. The quiet leader earns respect through their presence and their ability to listen and reflect before offering input. In relationships, silence can also communicate boundaries. There are moments when words aren't necessary, when silence says more than explanations or justifications ever could. Instead of constantly defending yourself or arguing your point, silence can assert your position without feeding into negativity. It can signal that you are confident in your beliefs and choices, and that you won't engage in unnecessary drama. Ultimately, silence is power because it grants you control over yourself and the situation. It gives you the ability to choose when to engage and when to hold back. It places you in the driver's seat, allowing you to dictate the flow of the conversation or interaction. In a world that rewards the loud and the visible, silence becomes a rare and valued quality. It allows you to move through life with a quiet confidence, secure in the knowledge that your silence holds as much, if not more, power than your words ever could. By embracing silence, you step into a space of strength, awareness, and intention. And in that space, you find the true power of silence, the power to influence, to control, and to confuse those who cannot understand the strength it takes to remain silent when the world expects noise. Mystery is a compelling force. It has the power to captivate minds, stir emotions, and evoke curiosity. In a world where information is readily available and where people often reveal their thoughts, actions, and motivations at every turn, mystery can set you apart. When others can't quite figure you out, they are drawn to you, eager to understand what lies beneath the surface. This is the allure of mystery. It creates intrigue, a magnetic pull that compels others to seek answers where none are easily found. To be mysterious is to be unpredictable, to withhold just enough information to make people curious without giving everything away. It's not about being secretive or deceptive, but about maintaining an air of ambiguity. When people can't immediately pin you down, they become more interested in who you are and what you represent. This interest can be incredibly powerful, both in personal relationships and in professional settings, as it gives you control over how others perceive you and how much of yourself you choose to reveal. Intrigue arises from the unknown. When something or someone is shrouded in mystery, the human mind naturally seeks to uncover the truth. Curiosity is hardwired into us. We are driven to solve puzzles, to fill in the gaps in our understanding. This is why mysteries, in books, films, or real life, are so captivating. They challenge us to think deeper, to look beyond the obvious, and to piece together the unknown. When you carry an air of mystery, you become the puzzle that others are compelled to solve. Your unpredictability keeps them engaged, and their desire to understand you gives you an edge in almost any interaction. In a society that often values oversharing and constant self-promotion, mystery becomes a form of power. While others are busy laying everything on the table, detailing their every thought and intention, the person who maintains a certain distance becomes intriguing. When you don't feel the need to explain yourself at every turn, you exude confidence. This quiet assurance sends a message: you are secure in who you are, and you don't need to seek validation through constant disclosure. This element of unpredictability can be a significant asset in various contexts. In business, for instance, mystery can give you the upper hand in negotiations or competitive situations. If your opponents or competitors are unsure of your next move, they are left in a state of uncertainty, which can work to your advantage. By withholding information or not telegraphing your intentions, you keep others guessing, forcing them to react to possibilities rather than certainties. This keeps them on the defensive, allowing you to navigate situations more strategically and on your terms. Mystery also plays a key role in relationships, whether personal or professional. When someone is mysterious, they become more attractive. The unknown draws people in, because there is always something new to discover. In romantic relationships, for example, a bit of mystery keeps things exciting. If everything is laid bare from the beginning, the relationship may quickly lose its spark. But when there is an element of the unknown, when you're not entirely sure what the other person is thinking or what their next move might be, it keeps the relationship dynamic, creating a sense of anticipation and excitement. This is not to suggest that mystery should be used manipulatively or to withhold important information in relationships, but rather that maintaining some boundaries and not revealing everything at once can create a more engaging and lasting connection. People appreciate depth and complexity, and when there is more to discover, the interest remains piqued. The key is balance, offering enough openness to foster trust, but retaining a sense of individual mystery that keeps things fresh. Mystery is also powerful because it fosters respect. When you don't reveal everything about yourself, you invite others to engage with you more thoughtfully. They must approach you with curiosity and care rather than assumptions. In doing so, they learn to appreciate the depth of your personality, and this appreciation often leads to respect. When people can't easily categorize or predict you, they tend to approach you with a sense of caution and curiosity, which can be incredibly empowering. In leadership, the strategic use of mystery can be especially impactful. A leader who doesn't always reveal their full plan keeps their team and even their competitors alert and engaged. When others are unsure of your next steps, they are more likely to pay attention and to consider all possibilities. This can foster innovation, as those around you are encouraged to think creatively rather than rely on predictability. As a leader, you can inspire curiosity and deeper thinking by not being entirely transparent about your methods or future actions, allowing space for others to rise to the occasion and contribute in unexpected ways. Moreover, mystery protects your energy. In a world that constantly demands more of your attention and involvement, being mysterious allows you to control how much of yourself you share with others. You get to decide what parts of your life and personality are visible to the world and what remains private. This sense of control over your personal narrative is incredibly empowering because it prevents others from assuming they know everything about you. It also gives you the flexibility to adapt, change, and grow without being confined by others' expectations. In contrast, those who constantly share every aspect of their lives risk becoming predictable, and over time, less engaging. People may lose interest when they believe they have seen everything there is to see. On the other hand, if you maintain a sense of mystery, people will continue to be intrigued by you, always wondering what's beneath the surface or what you might do next. They become invested in you because they feel there is always more to learn, more to discover. Mystery also shields you from unnecessary criticism and judgment. When people know less about you, they have less material to critique. You protect yourself from the noise of opinions, allowing you to focus on what truly matters to you without being swayed by others' perceptions. This doesn't mean you're hiding, rather, you're selectively choosing what to share, creating boundaries that safeguard your energy and emotional well-being. Ultimately, mystery creates intrigue because it taps into a fundamental aspect of human nature, the desire to know more. It makes you stand out in a world of oversharing, inviting others to look deeper and engage with you in more meaningful ways. Whether in personal relationships, business dealings, or leadership roles, the ability to be mysterious is a powerful tool that can elevate your interactions, draw people to you, and give you the advantage of control over your own narrative. By embracing the power of mystery, you invite others to not just see you, but to wonder about you, and in that wonder they find themselves intrigued. Listening is often an underrated skill, but it is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth, building relationships, and achieving success. In a world that is constantly buzzing with opinions, distractions, and noise, the ability to truly listen, to actively pay attention, absorb, and process information is a rarity. Yet those who master the art of listening unlock a profound advantage. They gain insight, deepen their understanding, and most importantly, learn. Listening, in its truest sense, goes beyond simply hearing words. It is about being fully present, engaging with the speaker, and understanding both what is said and what is left unsaid. It involves empathy, focus, and the willingness to put aside your own thoughts and reactions to fully grasp the message being conveyed. When you listen intently, you open yourself up to a world of knowledge and perspectives that you may not have considered. Learning begins with listening. Every conversation is an opportunity to gain new information, ideas, and experiences. When you listen carefully, you are able to gather valuable insights that can shape your thinking, influence your decisions, and expand your worldview. People who prioritize listening tend to be more adaptable because they are constantly learning from their surroundings. They pick up on subtle cues, recognize patterns, and understand context better than those who are preoccupied with speaking or asserting their own opinions. Listening also fosters empathy, which is the foundation of strong relationships. When you listen with the intent to understand rather than to respond, you create a space for meaningful connection. You show the other person that you value their thoughts and feelings, which in turn builds trust and mutual respect. This is particularly important in both personal and professional relationships. In conversations, many people are simply waiting for their turn to speak, often missing key points in the process. When you actively listen, however, you not only show that you care about the speaker's perspective, but you also gain a clearer understanding of their motivations, emotions, and needs. In the workplace, leaders who listen to their teams are often more effective. They are able to tap into the collective intelligence of the group, learn from their employees' experiences, and identify potential challenges before they become major issues. Listening allows leaders to be more attuned to their team's strengths and weaknesses, enabling them to make better decisions and foster a more collaborative and supportive environment. Employees feel more valued when their voices are heard, leading to higher morale, greater engagement, and increased productivity. Moreover, listening helps you learn about yourself. When you take the time to hear others' perspectives, you gain insight into your own beliefs and biases. By listening to differing viewpoints, you are challenged to reflect on your own assumptions and think critically about your stance on various issues. This self-reflection leads to personal growth, as it pushes you to step outside your comfort zone and consider ideas that may be unfamiliar or uncomfortable. In addition to fostering understanding and learning, listening can also give you a strategic advantage. In negotiations or high-stakes conversations, being a good listener allows you to pick up on nuances that others may miss. By listening carefully, you can identify the other party's concerns, priorities, and possible areas of flexibility. This knowledge gives you the upper hand as you can tailor your responses and offers in a way that aligns with their needs and desires. In contrast, those who are more focused on talking than listening may miss these crucial details, weakening their negotiating position. Listening also helps you avoid unnecessary conflict. Often, misunderstandings arise because people aren't really listening to each other. They may hear the words, but they aren't fully processing the intent behind them. By taking the time to listen actively, you can diffuse tensions before they escalate, simply by demonstrating that you understand where the other person is coming from. This doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but acknowledging their perspective can go a long way in de-escalating a potential argument. Furthermore, listening is a pathway to innovation and creativity. When you are open to hearing diverse perspectives, you expose yourself to new ideas and ways of thinking that you may not have considered before. This is especially important in creative fields or industries that rely on problem solving. Often, the best solutions come from collaboration and the synthesis of different viewpoints. If you are always the one talking, you close yourself off from these opportunities. But by listening, you allow yourself to be inspired by others' thoughts and experiences, which can spark new ideas and approaches. It's also important to remember that listening is not just about absorbing information, it's about engaging with it. Active listening involves asking questions, seeking clarification, and demonstrating that you are truly engaged with what the other person is saying. This not only helps you better understand the information being shared, but it also shows the speaker that you value their input. In turn, they are more likely to continue sharing valuable insights with you, creating a positive feedback loop of learning and collaboration. Listening requires patience and self-discipline. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into the habit of interrupting or finishing someone else's sentences, thinking that we already know what they're going to say. But when we do this, we miss out on the opportunity to truly understand their perspective. Good listening means resisting the urge to jump in with our own thoughts and instead allowing the speaker to fully express themselves. It's about being comfortable with silence, giving the other person space to gather their thoughts, and responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Listening also means being attentive to nonverbal communication. Often people communicate as much with their body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions as they do with their words. By paying attention to these cues, you can gain a deeper understanding of what someone is really trying to communicate. For example, a person may say they are fine, but their posture or tone might suggest otherwise. Being attuned to these subtleties allows you to respond in a more empathetic and thoughtful way. Ultimately, listening is an active process that opens the door to learning. It allows you to gather information, connect with others on a deeper level, and make better, more informed decisions. In a world where everyone is vying to be heard, those who take the time to listen stand out. They are seen as wise, thoughtful, and empathetic qualities that are increasingly rare but highly valued. By mastering the art of listening, you not only gain knowledge but also build stronger relationships, enhance your problem-solving abilities, and position yourself for success in both personal and professional arenas. Listening is a skill that, once cultivated, can transform your interactions in your life. It is through listening that we learn, and through learning that we grow. In a fast-paced world filled with endless distractions and constant demands on our time and attention, The ability to conserve and channel our energy effectively is essential. Every day we are bombarded with situations, conversations, and choices that can either uplift or drain us. Many people go through life constantly exhausted, not because they lack physical stamina, but because they fail to manage their mental and emotional energy wisely. One of the most significant ways to avoid wasting energy is to recognize when silence and restraint are more powerful than reacting or engaging. Energy is a finite resource. Whether it's physical, mental, or emotional energy, there's only so much we can give in a day before we feel depleted. Every interaction we have, every thought we entertain, and every decision we make draws from this energy reservoir. Yet, many of us expend this valuable resource on trivial matters, engaging in pointless arguments, over-explaining ourselves, worrying about others' opinions, or reacting impulsively to every provocation. When we spread our energy too thin on things that don't matter, we have little left for the pursuits and relationships that truly deserve our attention. The first step in avoiding wasted energy is discerning what is worth your attention and what is not. Every situation doesn't require a reaction. Every slight, every disagreement, and every misunderstanding doesn't need to be addressed. Often, silence is the best response, not because you don't have something to say, but because saying it would drain your energy without offering any real benefit. Silence in this sense is not about avoidance, but about prioritizing where you invest your mental and emotional energy. By choosing silence, you can avoid getting drawn into unproductive debates or interactions that would only serve to drain your resources. For instance, think about how often we find ourselves in conversations that lead nowhere. Arguments that are more about ego than finding solutions, or debates where both sides are more interested in proving they're right than actually listening to the other's perspective. These are classic examples of energy traps. You may leave these conversations feeling mentally exhausted, frustrated, or even angry, and yet nothing has been resolved. By recognizing these situations early and choosing not to engage, you conserve your energy for more meaningful interactions. Sometimes, the most powerful statement you can make is to walk away or to simply not respond at all. In addition to social interactions, internal dialogues can be just as energy draining. Overthinking, ruminating on past mistakes, or worrying about hypothetical future scenarios are mental habits that deplete your energy reserves without providing any real value in return. Often the mind gets stuck in loops of negative or anxious thinking, and this constant mental chatter consumes a significant amount of our energy. By practicing mindfulness and becoming more aware of your thought patterns, you can learn to interrupt this cycle. Instead of allowing your energy to be wasted on thoughts that lead nowhere, you can direct your mental focus toward the present moment or productive problem solving. Emotional energy is another area where wastefulness can occur. Many people expend vast amounts of emotional energy on things that are beyond their control, such as trying to change other people's behavior or fix problems that aren't theirs to solve. We get caught up in the drama of other people's lives, or we internalize every conflict and make it personal. This leads to burnout, frustration, and a sense of helplessness. The reality is that we can't control other people's actions or the external world, but we can control how we respond. Learning to detach emotionally from situations that aren't yours to fix allows you to conserve your energy for the things that truly matter. One of the most profound ways to avoid wasting emotional energy is by setting boundaries. When you establish clear boundaries, whether in relationships, at work, or in your personal life, you protect your energy from being consumed by unnecessary stress or obligations. Boundaries aren't about being unkind or distant, they're about recognizing that your energy is precious, and not every demand on your time or emotions deserves your attention. Saying no to things that drain you is a way of saying yes to yourself and to the things that truly matter. Avoiding wasted energy also means being selective about the battles you choose to fight. Not every challenge or conflict requires you to invest yourself fully. Sometimes the wisest course of action is to let go of the need to be right or to win. By choosing your battles carefully, you conserve your energy for the moments that truly require your full engagement. It's about understanding that not everything is worth your time, and some conflicts are better resolved through patience, silence, or simply walking away. Another area where energy is often wasted is in the pursuit of perfection. Many people spend an inordinate amount of time and effort trying to make everything perfect, whether it's a project at work, their appearance, or even their social image. This perfectionism is not only draining but ultimately futile, as perfection is an impossible standard. Rather than wasting energy on trying to meet unrealistic expectations, it's far more effective to focus on progress and improvement. Accept that some things will be imperfect, and that's okay. By letting go of the need for everything to be flawless, you free up energy to pursue your goals with greater clarity and less stress. Furthermore, avoiding wasted energy involves managing your physical well-being. When you're physically exhausted, it becomes harder to manage your mental and emotional energy effectively. Getting adequate rest, eating nourishing food, and maintaining a regular exercise routine are foundational to conserving energy. Physical well-being directly impacts how much energy you have available to invest in your daily tasks and interactions. When you neglect your body's needs, you deplete your energy reserves, making it more challenging to avoid wasting energy on trivial matters. Finally, it's essential to recognize the importance of recharging your energy. Just as a phone battery needs to be recharged, so too does your mental and emotional energy. Taking time for self-care, whether through meditation, hobbies, nature, or quiet reflection, allows you to restore your energy reserves. When you're fully charged, it becomes easier to avoid wasting energy on distractions, because you're more centered, focused, and intentional in your actions. In conclusion, avoiding wasted energy is about being intentional with how you allocate your resources. It's about recognizing when silence is more powerful than speaking, when detachment is more effective than engagement, and when rest is more productive than pushing through exhaustion. By conserving your energy for the things that truly matter, you can lead a more fulfilling, balanced, and empowered life. Your energy is finite, but when used wisely, it becomes an invaluable tool for success and personal growth. In life, it's easy to get caught up in what people say. Words have the power to inspire, comfort, and motivate, but they are only as meaningful as the actions that back them up. The old saying, "Actions speak louder than words," rings true in countless situations, highlighting the idea that talk is cheap if not supported by consistent behavior. What we do, the decisions we make, and how we act in different circumstances carry far more weight than the words we use. This principle is universal, touching every aspect of life, whether in personal relationships, professional environments, or even the way we interact with ourselves. Words are powerful, but they are often overused or misused. We can say whatever we want, making promises, giving assurances, or stating our beliefs and intentions, but unless those words are followed by action, they can become empty and meaningless. People are more likely to remember what you do rather than what you say. For example, you can tell someone that you value them, but if your actions don't show care and respect, the words lose their power. It's the consistency between words and actions that builds trust, strengthens relationships, and defines character. In relationships, the alignment of words and actions is key to trust and authenticity. Anyone can make promises, but fulfilling those promises is what truly matters. In a romantic relationship, for example, someone might say, "I love you," frequently, but if they don't show love through supportive, caring actions, those words might begin to feel hollow. Similarly, in friendships, saying you'll always be there for someone is important, but showing up in times of need through your presence and help proves your loyalty and commitment. Actions demonstrate true intentions and character, far beyond the realm of words. Moreover, actions have the ability to convey emotions and intentions more clearly than words ever could. You can tell someone that you are sorry for hurting them, but a genuine apology is expressed through change in behavior, not just words. It's the effort to make amends and to not repeat the harmful action that truly reflects the sincerity of the apology. Words alone might be fleeting, but actions leave a lasting impression, and they are the evidence people use to judge sincerity and trustworthiness. In the professional world, actions are just as critical. Leaders who talk about teamwork, innovation, or integrity without demonstrating those values in their behavior quickly lose the respect of their teams. Employees pay attention to the actions of their leaders, often far more than the company's mission statements or slogans. If a leader says they value their team but doesn't take actions to support their growth, provide opportunities, or show appreciation, it creates a disconnect. Over time, people begin to lose faith in the leadership, not because of what was said, but because of what was not done. In contrast, leaders who lead by example, showing through their actions that they embody the values they speak about, inspire others to follow. When a leader demonstrates a commitment to hard work, empathy, and ethical decision-making, those actions resonate more deeply than any motivational speech ever could. Employees are more likely to trust, respect, and follow a leader who acts in alignment with their words. In essence, actions in the workplace set the tone for culture, morale, and land long-term success as they provide the blueprint for others to emulate. Actions also speak louder than words in the realm of personal growth and self-development. Many of us have goals or dreams we talk about, whether it's getting in shape, learning a new skill, or starting a new venture. But talking about these aspirations isn't enough. You can tell yourself and others that you plan to make a change, but until you start taking actionable steps, those goals remain distant. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that discussing your plans is the same as making progress. However, real progress comes from consistent action, whether that's hitting the gym regularly, dedicating time to learning something new, or putting in the work required to start that business. Without action, the words are just wishful thinking. It's also important to recognize that actions are not limited to grand gestures. Often the most meaningful actions are small, everyday choices that align with our values and intentions. These small actions accumulate over time, building a pattern of behavior that defines who we are. For example, being kind, patient, and considerate in your daily interactions shows far more about your character than any words could. While anyone can talk about the importance of kindness or humility, it's the little things like listening attentively, helping someone in need, or practicing gratitude that demonstrate these qualities. On the global stage, actions speak louder than words in areas such as social change, environmental responsibility, and humanitarian efforts. We often hear leaders, corporations, and governments make bold statements about improving conditions, reducing pollution, or helping marginalized communities. However, it's the actions that follow these statements that truly make a difference. Words without corresponding action only serve to disappoint or mislead, while real change comes from the tangible steps taken to address issues. It's the activists, volunteers, and ordinary people who take action, who put in the work to improve their communities and the world, that leave a lasting impact. For individuals, this means that it's not enough to voice support for causes or to speak about the changes you want to see. It's about taking the time to contribute in any way you can, whether that's through volunteering, donating, or simply making more conscious choices in your daily life. Talking about change may raise awareness, but actions are what create the real transformation. Whether it's something as small as recycling regularly or as large as advocating for policy change, every action contributes to a larger collective impact. The idea that actions speak louder than words also extends to the way we treat ourselves. You can tell yourself that you're going to take better care of your mental and physical health, but unless you take tangible steps like getting enough rest, exercising, eating well, and setting boundaries, the words mean little. Self-care is an action, not just an idea, and it requires consistent effort to yield results. It's about prioritizing yourself through your actions, rather than just talking about it. In conclusion, while words have their place and can be powerful, they must be supported by consistent actions to have true meaning and impact. Whether in relationships, at work, in personal development, or on a larger societal scale, it's what we do that defines us and leaves a lasting impression. Words may inspire or inform, but actions solidify our intentions, build trust, and create real change. Ultimately, it's the choices we make and the actions we take that shape our lives and the world around us, far more than any words could ever do. In today's fast-paced, information-driven world, the ability to control the narrative is one of the most powerful tools at an individual's or organization's disposal. The narrative refers to the story being told, whether it's about yourself, your brand, your work, or your values. Controlling the narrative